Hey everyone, I'm Kevin with Victory 4x4. In this video, we're going to install our bed stiffeners in the back of our 4th gen Toyota Tacoma. So first things first, before the stiffener can be bolted in, you have to remove the taillight on whichever side you're working. So you'll need a 10mm socket, and you're just going to have 2 screws on the inside of the tailgate opening here. The taillight itself is then just going to pull straight out to the side. It just has 2 kind of alignment pins in there, locating it in place. And then you will have a connector to remove here. It's more of a clip that fastens the harness into the taillight. Ours is already removed since we've had this out earlier on during the R&D process, but you just pinch the 2 tabs on the inside here. It pops out pretty easily, and then there's just a standard kind of thumb tab on the electrical connector, like most of your factory connections. Next, you have 2 bolts to remove down here. So you're going to use a T55 for the main bed mounting bolt here, as well as a T40 for the factory cargo tie down hook on this side. Now down inside of the hole location where this cargo tie down was removed, there is going to be a small spacer, a lock washer, as well as a thinner flat washer on the very bottom. You want to keep all of that stuff in place as it was from the factory. You can take this out, and then inside of the hook there is kind of a plastic bushing that you'll want to remove, just kind of pressing on one side. It's usually pretty easy to get that to free up and pop through the bottom, leaving you with a nice flat surface here when reinstalling the bolt as well as your bed stiffener. From there, you can grab the stiffener. These are really going to only install one way, so they are side specific, but you can't really mess it up. You see here the 2 mounting holes for the bottom, which we're going to be lining up now. So it's going to install in this orientation with the flange and tie down hooks toward the rear of the truck. And then you'll line up and reinstall the bolt for that tie down. Followed by the larger factory bed hold down bolt here. With both of these started, we're just going to snug them up enough that it's holding the bracket nice and steady, but we can still manipulate it ever so slightly front to rear for alignment before drilling the 2 holes out on this side. When it comes to marking out your 2 hole locations over here, you just want to make sure that the bracket is nice and parallel to the back edge of the bed in this location, as well as stood up parallel with this back edge. And then it's just a matter of marking each hole, ideally with a colored like a gold or silver Sharpie if you have that. If not, just put a piece of blue tape behind here before you get this installed, and it's easy enough to then mark these out. You could also just hold it in place and center punch in place that way. It's entirely up to you, but you do want to make sure to center punch as well as at least drill a pilot hole in each of these hole locations with something like the 1/8 inch drill bit I have here. Since these are already done, I can now remove these 2 bolts and pull this bracket out of the way while we drill. If you wanted to, you could drill through the bracket using it as a guide with a 1/2 inch bit. Now again, we're going to drill these out to accept 1/2 inch hardware. I'm just using a step style bit or unibit. If you have one of these, great. If not, again, you can do it with conventional bits, just stepping up through a couple different sizes along the way. From here, you can check hardware fitment with one of your fasteners. You can also throw the bracket back up here to just make sure that everything lines up nicely. And if needed, you can drill these out just a little bit larger for compliance, but we're not going to recommend anything larger than 9/16. After that, you want to touch these up to prevent corrosion. So for that, I've just got a little bit of black touch-up paint here. We can then reinstall the stiffener once again, leaving the lower hardware loose. From there, you'll have 1/2-inch bolts with washers to go through the bed and stiffener out here, and then out in that taillight opening, we'll be installing these provided nut tabs. You'll need to feed these nut tabs through the cutout here, as well as in the next layer of sheet metal and out to the stiffener. The top one will kind of be installed in this orientation, and then the bottom is essentially the opposite. You'll just flip it over and install it and line it up with your lower mounting fastener. It does get a little bit tight over here on the driver's side with the factory tailgate strut in place here, but you got a little more room to work with over on the passenger side. When installed properly, the two tabs should kind of nest in here side by side, so make sure that they're not overlapping or trying to occupy the same space, and then we can grab our 3/4 socket to tighten these up. We can then tighten our lower factory mounting hardware. You can then reinstall your taillight, making sure that you get it clipped in here as well as on the harness clip down there. With everything tight here, you can repeat that process over on the other side to finish up your install. And as always, if you guys have any questions about this install or anything else we offer here at Victory 4x4, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can always send us an email at info@victory4x4.com or call us at 269-459-8447.